Yo, so today we're not gonna talk about politics, but we're gonna address the world through the eyes of a man who had all the qualities of a great human being, the famous Anthony Bourdain. Now, Anthony Bourdain, he spent more than 30 years, if I'm not mistaken, working more than 10 hours a day, standing in front of a hot oven, making food for strangers. And he was very, very passionate about it. I mean, me personally, when I discovered Anthony Bourdain, I was going through a lot. I was just starting working in restaurants and I noticed that I was going through some changes. I was getting better at dealing with people, at dealing with my social anxiety, at dealing with everything in my life as I overcame all the challenges that comes with working in a fast-paced environment like a restaurant. It was very funny because I would talk to my friends like, dude, I'm like, understanding myself better. I got shit on by a customer last night, but actually that, when I reflect on it, made me a better person and all that. They're like, dude, shut up, man. You're going crazy, bro. This is just a job. Go home and forget about it, right? I was like, no, bro, I am changing, and I couldn't get that off my mind, and it seems like nobody could understand me, So I was very fortunate to come across Anthony Bourdain's book, and when I read it, it was life-changing because there is a chapter in it that he says, like, when I started working in a restaurant when I was 15 years old, it helped me with my ADHD a lot because it gave me a sense of structure where I could start and finish things and make, everything work out at the end of the day. And I remember when I read that, I was like, oh my God, this is what I'm feeling right here. Isn't it such a great feeling when you come across somebody that understands and speaks to your soul? And with all this scenario in America right now, with the ICE thing going on, the raids, all these hates and people crying, I cannot stop but wonder, what would Anthony Bourdain say? Because if you ever work in restaurants, the kitchen is all immigrants, bro.
Dos sopas de cebolla, dos green salads, steak tartare, tres princess. Solo vai anglais, New York, confit canard, filet, braised valerón, pepper steak, and pork mignon.
Oh, my first pork mignon, I'm so excited.
The kitchen doesn't give a fuck about where you come from. They give a fuck about if you can handle the job, if you can make things work, and if you can be in a fast-paced environment, pulling off what you need to pull off. And actually, Anthony, before he died, he was very outspoken about the fact that the backbone of a restaurant industry is created by the labor of immigrants. So you gotta understand that every plate you ever love, every dish that you ever had a pleasure to deal with was created by someone that maybe not speak your own language. One thing that restaurant does teach you is that you don't learn humanity and empathy through politics. You learn that through shared suffering. It's just wild, man, because a human like Anthony Bourdain in today's world is gonna be very rare to come through, If you think about today's society and how everybody's so entitled, to have a human being that is humble, that understands that people go through a lot and everybody's fighting their own battle, it's become rarer and rarer. And once you know that when you go to places that you want to enjoy and have, things made with decent effort, usually you're not going to be looking at where they come from. You're going to be looking where they put the effort in it and made it work out for you. Because when you have hours and hours and hours of intense contact with human beings, you realize what a good human being is and what a bad human being is. It doesn't depend on status. And the question that I'm hitting at now is, where we gonna go with a society that just look for status, just look for things that look outwardly impressive instead of inward? Do we have, the time and the disposition to go through a hard working job and realize what are those qualities in other people? Or we just gonna be looking at, again, the status and the outward exposition of the world? A guy like Anthony Bourdain was, priceless to be around, and now we're running away from that truth, of recognizing people for who they are and what they're built for and what they have inside. just wish, man, that the great Anthony was here with us today and he could, be the one who would bring that speech that is, we are losing that kind of humanity that we used to have with people, that we know that we need to address everybody with respect. But now status and things like that are more invoked than ever. And we as a society may have failed to be human again. Anthony Bourdain, more than anybody else, was a guy that had instruction and experience and hardship. He overcame those same hardship that people who are coming to this country face. So he knows what these people are built for. What would you think that the great Anthony would have said in this situation about the immigration and also about that everything that is going on, Let me know.
Cheers.
Gentlemen, cheers. To the Queen.
No, I hate the aristocracy, man.